Yeah, it's
marketing, man. You get people to believe anything. It's like you got to grow it into them. You know, there's this. I feel like I tell this story every single time I'm talking on a podcast, but like there's this great thing about how Nescafe broke into the Japanese market. Have you heard about this?
No.
And it's like they went to this consultant. They're asking him, "How do we get in?" And he's like, "You can't get in." And they're like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "It's going to be 15 years." They're like, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Well, they don't know what the fuck coffee is over there. Okay, you're trying to be tea, you're not tea. So what you're going to do is you're going to make a cartoon, and you're going to spend some few million on that, and then you're going to make a candy based on the cartoon, and then that candy is going to be flavored as coffee. And when these kids grow up, they're going to have this memory of coffee and the flavor of the smell of coffee." And I think last week they just opened the biggest Starbucks in the world in Tokyo, and these people devour coffee like no other. And the idea is like the takeaway for me, the reason why I tell the story all the time is like change comes from underneath. You know what I mean?
So is this how they approached it? They actually did it that way?
That's the same guy, the consultant, Rapai, I think his name is. And he's a book or something out called The Culture Code. My buddy's doing like a series with him, trying to break it down. But the idea is like, if you want to change any, it's the same reason why I did my shit on YouTube. Is like, if you want to change any industry or something like that, it's never going to come within the traditional structure. You know what I mean? It's like, I would never be able to do the type of jokes I was doing on maybe you are and the bigs can, but me, they'd be like, "Hey, that joke's about, trans people. You can't do that," et cetera. So it's like, if I want to make it okay, I got to do it outside. Mm-hmm. I have to go a little bit outside of the industry and make it okay. And the way they were thinking was, hey, let's get underneath and just fucking grow these ideas in. I feel like that's why we fight wars over ideas all the time, right? It's like people understand, oh shit, if people start believing in socialism or whatever the new thing they want us to be afraid of now, if they believe in it and it sounds good enough, they'll want it. So we got to nip this in the bud in Vietnam.
Yeah.
There's
a little bit of that. I mean, Vietnam was super complicated. Depending on who you ask, most likely it was about heroin. A lot of
the whole war, you think?
A lot of it, yeah. A lot of it was about the heroin trade.
Really?
Billions and billions and billions of dollars controlling the heroin trade.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
More so than the spread of this ideology.
A lot of Afghanistan is about the heroin trade.
My understanding was I understood that a little bit more.
Heroin ramped up radically. Look, there's all sorts of positive aspects to most of the ideas that they push. Right. There's positive aspects to trying to stop terrorism. There's positive aspects to trying to stop radical fundamentalists from taking over parts of the world and radicalizing segments of the population and making these terrorist cells and attacking cities and doing a lot of things that we know really do happen. That's true. But what's also true, it's a hotbed for heroin. So it's a win-win. There's a Geraldo Rivera segment on Fox News where Geraldo Rivera was talking to soldiers who were guarding poppy fields, and they were explaining that the U.S. soldiers had to guard the fucking heroin because this is how they got these Afghani farmers to cooperate against the radical fundamentalists that were running these religious sects.